until I was a teenager, like I was playing drums all the time. That was probably like the greatest period of growth for me. And then I got back into it later on, when I kind of I was becoming an adult, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? So then I really made a decision to play drums because it was going to be my livelihood. But I mean, there's always a little bit of, I feel like being a musician, you're always kind of walking that fine line of, your life is kind of a party. It's like it's hard to take anything super seriously because all we do is play music. But I mean, I think I'm finding the love later in life, like right now, that I think I'm finding what I had when I was a kid. And it's taken a while to get back to it. Keyboard is there because of a band that I started where I play keyboards and drums. I mean, I would happily play drums for AC/DC if Phil Rudd couldn't make it and they needed someone to just play 4/4. I would do that gig and it would be the greatest thing in the world to me if I were ever allowed to do something like that. I'm not saying that they would want me to play with them. I'm just saying if I had the opportunity, I would play with AC/DC. That would be amazing. You know what I mean? And I love music like that just as much as complicated stuff, and it doesn't matter to me. I like the keyboard because when I'm playing with the keyboard, it's all about groove. So the groove kind of has to be simple because I'm doing so much. So kind of like, I don't know, it's just its own thing. But I mean, I play all kinds of music on drums. I play sometimes when I'm not playing with the keyboard. I play free jazz, and I play jazz and funk and fusion and all kinds of different music. So to me, it's all just kind of the same. It comes down to, am I speaking honestly? You know what I mean? Like, it's like if I'm just playing a bunch of stuff on anything, it doesn't mean anything, and that's all I can do. Now I keep practicing. Like I want to practice the keyboard because definitely that's the thing that I'm the least proficient at. But singing and drumming and the whole thing, it's just as much time as I can spend digging into it. I'm just gonna keep developing.
I was looking at you playing, and you're kind of like what Ray Manzarek would have been if he played drums instead of the organ. When he had to do the bass lines.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So,
he played a cool thing, a Fender Rhodes bass. That is a cool instrument. Yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of people. I mean, playing organ is a double. You're doing more than one thing. I mean, Charlie Hunter plays bass while he plays guitar. It's incredible. And I never set out to be a guy like that. I mean, I don't, I guess I'm turning into something like that, but that wasn't my intention necessarily. But yeah, I mean, when you watch Joey DeFrancesco play organ, I mean, it's greater than anything I think I've ever seen before and heard. And he's doing all that at once. But I think the most important thing to do is to just close your eyes and listen. And I'm hoping that when people listen to me play, they're just going to be like, oh, that's cool music. You know what I mean? If you're not looking at it. Yeah. I mean, I like old Yamaha synths from the 80s, but nobody ever gives me one when I ask for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting too because for having keyboards on the drum set, I want the keyboards to be small because to me having a big keyboard looks stupid. So like this is the biggest that I would ever want. But I even bought a smaller one recently, like an old, I can't even remember what it's called now. I've only seen one before, and it's 1 octave. And it's just, I like small keyboards for the drum set. I don't want it to be a big thing. Well, I like maple shells because I think I grew up playing vintage drums that were maple shells. So I think I just go for that more resonant sound. I still play the same Yamaha kit that I bought in 2004. I'm currently looking for a vintage set of Yamahas from the late 60s. That'll be the next sound that I'm interested in, I think, because I played some recently and they were so good. So that's what I'm currently looking for out there. And I like drums that ring. And so the maple shells. I like to put thin heads on maple shells. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. Very simple. I mean, I think old stuff is always better. I mean, I don't mind new stuff, but like that's just where I come from. I mean, I love my vinyl cymbals, but I mean, I have an old K Zildjian from like the 60s. I mean, you just can't, I don't play it because it has a crack in it, but I mean, that's why I play these vinyl cymbals, and they sound older to me, and that's why I like them. You know what I mean? It's like you grow with an instrument. I mean, I would play recording custom kit, if I could make it sound like I wanted it to, which I'm sure I could. But I don't know if the older Yamahas have a different bearing edge than the ones now. I don't have the information for that, but like
they resembled more the Ludwigs from John Bonham.
Maybe more like that. Maybe that's more what I'm kind of an old soul. I tend to lean towards stuff like that. I have had some custom drums made. I have a 26-inch bass drum that is unbelievably awesome. Custom made from Yamaha. And a thin one. It's like a 14 by 26. So it's like, I mean, I will make an entire drum kit like that and love it. And because it, the ability to create anything that you're hearing is there. I guess the only thing I'll say is I always tend to go for vintage sounding things, drum wise. I just like, I like John Bonham, and I like, just for lack of a better example, like stuff that sounds like that, or old jazz or anything warmer. So I mean, anything in that direction is good. But it's also the heads you put on it and stuff, and the way you tune but yeah, Yamaha's it's they've made really great stuff for a really long time. Yeah, well, old soul, meaning that's what I am, but I can't do the same thing someone else already did. I have to do what I do, and I have to push myself, and I live in New York, where I'm constantly surrounded by the most, in my opinion, some of the most innovative musicians. Some of them are like really good friends of mine, and I'm constantly being challenged. How can I reinvent myself? How can I like learn a new thing? So it's really, yeah, exactly. And I mean, so it's like I'm trying to take what I know already, which comes natural to me, which is, soul and blues singing and rock drumming and kind of jazz weird stuff, and trying to figure out how it all lines up with this and funk and everything. And I mean, you just got to find your own thing, I think.
So on me, she got to be the special, yeah. I'm a lucky man with a patient beside me. The ability to bring yourself to me, you never know what I might say. Not a right in the lead, the world will hold me still. It's really a way to be saved. Not a right to feed my family.